attend, we will give the NCA president a chance to address the media. Then after that, we'll take any questions. So we hand over to the president, Professor Lovemore.
Okay, thank you very much, Prof. I should also welcome you all and indicate our appreciation of the fact that you've been able to come at short notice. This is the NCA headquarters, NCA head office. What I want to do is two things. The people you are seeing are our leaders. What I want to do, two things. First, to give an accurate account of what happened yesterday. Then secondly, indicate what the position of the organization going forward is. So two things. What happened yesterday, and then what is the way forward from the NCA position. Yesterday we witnessed, barbarism at its best. We had a meeting here. We meant to have a meeting, a consultative meeting of the NCA organs, drawn from all parts of the country, including Harare. The purpose of our meeting was to discuss our strategies of opposing Constitution of Zimbabwe Amendment number 3. It was not a meeting to say, are we in support or are we not in support? It was a meeting knowing very well that our position is fixed. We think it's nonsense that should be rejected and that we should campaign against it. So we were meant to discuss the strategies of how to go about our opposition. Because it was an internal meeting consisting of the leaders of the organization, in terms of the law, and the law is very specific, when a political party is holding such a meeting of a consultative nature, of a structure, of a board that is set out in terms of its constitution, that political party need not notify the police under MOPA. That was also even the position under POSA. And in addition to that, where you are having a meeting within your premises, and I think all members of the media, you can see, where a closed place, the only place that is open is the gate, but which is closed with, this is a private place, owned by the NCA. The government knows, you go to the government, you go to the deeds registry, you will see that this property, 348 Heritage Table, Bumbiro House, you will see that this property is owned by the NCA, who are the owners of this building. So they know that. And so in that kind of private environment, you don't notify the police. And you shouldn't, because the law does not require you to do that. And we have never done that in the past, and we will not do it in the future. So we were having our meeting with the tents that we saw going out. Then the police came. They had done that 2 days earlier when they abducted our members at the meeting that they held here. I'm sure that is already in the public media. And they parked the 2 vehicles outside. Then they were entertaining other vehicles that were not marked as police vehicles, but without number plates. And these people will come in and out. Those persons were actually also members of the police or a security establishment, with a very clear coordination between them. When the meeting was about to start, in fact, someone was making an announcement in the tent that we are waiting a few minutes so that we can now start. Other people who were still arriving from Harare will join us in. They thought the meeting was kicking off because there were people there. Then they forced their way at the gate. There were people at the gate, the members that were ushers there. They forced themselves there with all forms of arms and so on. What we saw with the battle sticks and other things that were hidden. You also know that they then fired the shot. Now when they did that, I actually went to them to just find out what was, because some of our members really wanted to confront them and say, look, why are you coming to disturb us? When we are a political party, we are in a private space. We know that ZANU-PF is currently organizing meetings everywhere. Even as we were doing our meeting here yesterday, ZANU-PF was holding what it was calling consultative meetings in the provinces, and their offices were in some other places. And so there was that. So I feared that there might be an ugly confrontation between our membership and the police. So I came in between and said to our members, please, let's just go back. We hear one. And they couldn't give me a chance to have a conversation with them. And they fired shots in the air, which scattered everyone. And then they came for me. They started beating me up, left, right, and center. What was wrong? Etc. But because I wasn't running away, I was just sitting. I had taken the position we used to do in the past, where when such events occurred in the past, you would sit down and then you will be told under the First Republic, you will be told that we are under arrest, and you will normally not be beaten further once you have more or less surrendered, which is what I did. So I sat there, but that was again an opportunity to come back to me. They would go around, chase people, then you come back. At least each one of them had to give me blows. I really about 5 or 6. Like they'd arrange that you can't go away without beating this person. They're beating all over. And then you go to our members who were beaten, other members who wanted to come to me to get my phone and so on. They have you have effort who was there and so on, who also suffered just because he wanted to come to aid. So it is that unprovoked attack, which then left 17. Now that's the number. 17 of our members injured, all sorts of injuries. I think you are aware of that. We then took them to 2 medical institutions, one at the Avenues Clinic, and the others were taken. Here I must mention the Doctors for Human Rights that came in and said they will assist with part of our cause. But yesterday's thing was totally unwarranted, and I must put it on record that it was the police. It can never be anyone else, because it's not a matter of doubt. It was the police. So when they left here, the police vehicles were still parked outside. Then some of them went out, got into these unmarked cars, others joined the police vehicles. They left together. So came in different ways. The police, the uniformed police first, and then these other people coming in. But when they were then leaving, they left together. So our intention was very clear as far as we know it. The idea was that if anything was going to happen to those people, we would be told that we have stoned police officers, we have resisted police authority. But if that didn't happen, then we would hear the narration that we were not involved. That's the trick. The trick is that if they get away with just simply torturing you and so on, without them receiving any blows in return, the police will say we don't know who they were. But if you were to attack them in one way or the other, you will then be accused of, they will become police officers the moment they receive that sort of thing. So they therefore disrupted the meeting. They beat us up, as you saw, but all our members were then treated. And the last person to be discharged from observation at the 2 hospitals was at around 8 p.m. I was among those who were the last ones from Baines Avenues Clinic, 8 p.m. And so all our members are recovering now from home. No one is still in hospital. Is that correct?
Yes.
It's no one is still in hospital as we speak. They were all released with various bruises, etc. I have seen a purported statement from the Zimbabwe Republic Police, which says that the NCA made an application, or they notified us, and then we responded to say that there were irregularities, and then they went ahead with an assignment meeting. I'm very much disappointed by that. Well, that's a lie. It's not true. The NCA never informed the police about the meeting on Saturday. We would not have informed them. We know the law of the country. An internal meeting does not require police notification. So we never did it. We never received anything from the police, and therefore it is a complete fabrication by the police if that statement belongs, if they are owning it up. But I've seen that government spokespersons are doing the same. I am advised here that I think it's Mr. Nick Mangwana in one of his tweets has been propagating that lie. It's a known lie, but this lie is not a small lie. We as an organization are taking it seriously. Why would the police force lie? Because they know they never received a notification from the NCA. They know they never engaged anyone from the NCA. But why are they putting it across as the official position? It's actually they know that they were involved in the process. So we also know that their aim is to say, well, you should come and report to us. Now we've discussed it as a leadership, and we are very clear. We're not reporting anything to the police. Why would we report this to the police when they are the police? We know it. It was the police that came in to do that. So we are not stupid. We are a political party. We know the political methods that are being used by ZANU-PF and its government. It is abusing state institutions for its own ends. So we cannot be so stupid as to go to the police. If anyone cares in this country, if anyone is running the country and wants to observe what is. They know they should take up any action if they want to look at what clearly happened. So I must make it clear to the media, and I'm happy that is, the NCA never made a notification. It will never make a notification. This is a private building of a political party with rights here, and we'll continue to have meetings here. And I thought that like what we're having, and we thank the journalists for coming. This is our boardroom, this is our place, and you're covering us here. That's where now we have all our press conferences here. It's our place, and that is the freedom. No person in government has the right to interfere with that. And then what is coming out is that they are saying, if you are opposing the bill, you should not say out anything. But if you are in support of the bill, then you can say something. What worries us, and we have got information to that effect, Parliament has published a purported invitation to members of the public to send emails to a given email. They've also said you can submit something physically at Parliament building. Now what they are going to be doing, each document that is submitted, if you say something that they don't want, they will follow you up, and you'll be beaten up or follow the track secretly. So you look at that, what kind of debate is that? You invite people, but once they are invited, you brutalize them. And then you brutalize them in the name of saying, well, these are people that we do not know, and so on. So that is my first part of the process. That's what happened, and that is the truth of the position. Going forward, the NCA has been in this game for a long time. We believe that there must be a genuine, people-driven constitution for our country. Genuine, people-driven constitution. That was our stance all along. Now what we are not stopping. These people know that we would not obviously be intimidated in silence. They know it. They know that also we believe in what we are standing for. So what they did yesterday is just outright torture, outright brutality. If you go by international standards, how it is, it's a meaningless abuse of power. Just beat for the love of that process. So we are not stopping anything. We will be at the forefront as an organization of opposing Constitution of Zimbabwe Amendment number 3. We will be opposing it. I can assure the nation that that bill will be defeated. Now I need to make sure that people realize that the defeat would come perhaps sometimes not as early as they want, but it will ultimately be defeated. Its evidence of defeat is that there will be elections in 2028. There is not going to be a 2030 thing. There is not going to be the nonsense of saying if you were elected in 2023 and you are a councillor, you remain and say, and I will remain there. You are an MP, you remain and say, and I will remain there. You are the president, you say, and I will remain there. That is not going to happen. So that is so what we will do, let me be clear again, because I've said that before. The first thing is what we are doing. We are mobilizing people, telling them what this bill is all about, what we can call mobilization and civic education. So that is the point number 1. Just exchanging information with the people like we were doing. That's number 1. Number 2, we will use legal mechanisms available to stop. We also want other institutions of the state to play their part. We are citizens. The courts are there. This is about law. It's clear that the law will not allow what they've done. We want to test it. So there will be several legal challenges. And if we are lucky, the courts will stop this thing earlier than the process. But fighting through the courts is also going to go all the way and let people not lose hope. Let's say they still pass something in Parliament and say we've approved it, two-thirds, and they send it to the president. That doesn't stop the fact that it is unlawful for a sitting president to benefit from an amendment. So 328, section 328 something will still apply. So we can even challenge the amendment when it has already been signed into law and it can still be nullified. So people shouldn't lose hope, but we don't think we'll reach that far. There's also the challenge which will come where even if they succeed, we say we want a referendum. So the courts can help. So the courts can be very helpful at least 3 stages. Now before the 90 days are up, we might have a court challenge that can stop that. We've seen some of the challenges. Even after the 90 days, we might still nullify whatever is passed by Parliament. And then we can also enforce a referendum. These are so that will be the second stage, challenging that. If that fails, third stage, even if they were to pass it into law and say that they are there, we will be opposing them day in and day out and telling them that you are an illegitimate government. So come 2028, I'm just giving the public that view. Let's say in 2028 we end up with them in government without an election. They should expect that from that time they will be regarded as an illegitimate. So there will be a campaign of illegitimacy. So they won't enjoy that 2-year period that they are giving themselves. They won't enjoy it. They will be beating us up again, killing people, and so on. Let them kill people in the name of not wanting to meet the people clearly. So the NCA is there. I would say also, as I close, that the NCA is ready to work with other organizations who are similarly minded. So we are really open now to be able to do that. We have a place here, and there are other people with places as well. We will be able to give space for meetings here, and just again telling the police loud and clear, those meetings will be lawful. If you have a meeting taking place within this, we'll close our door and have our meetings inside. And when we have those meetings, it is our choice, it is our freedom as an organization to invite any of our friends here. So you should expect that there will be meetings here if people choose this place as a venue. Or we go elsewhere. Perhaps I thought I should make it upfront because we cannot fight a struggle under the table. A struggle is fought above ground and say this is what we believe. I think that is clear. So the way forward, we are against, we'll work with others against. We want to defeat the bill. We will defeat it. And I've seen and have been listening to those that are promoting it. They are all people that show that they simply don't know what they are wanting except one thing, that they want to remain in power. How they'll go about it, I think they do not know. All the methods that they put on the table are not working. And that is where the panic is coming from. And that is what we intend to do. So thank you very much. The NCA is here. We are recovering, but we are already back in form. Sooner or later, you'll still activities, depending on which stage we are. I think those will be my presentation, and thank you very much. If there are any questions.
Yeah, okay. It's time for us to take questions. So we'll take, let's say, 2 sets of round of questions. If there's any, then we'll take another set of questions. If you have any question, you start by identifying yourself and the media institution that you are coming from. Then you ask your question. If you show by raise of your hands, then I will be able to identify you. I see Tony stand up. Probably you can ask your question while the others are thinking.
I might as well just use the privilege to ask questions if there haven't been any, and probably just catch up. Thank you so much, Prof. Madhuku, for the presentation and speaking to us as the press, because there are many questions that people want to really understand what really transpired. My first question is, what does this mean to you and generally the various citizens of this country when police officers are being involved in what is clearly a party matter, and they've been deployed or undeployed? We don't really understand. Clearly in marked police vehicles, as we have already seen some vehicles, and they were physically present, and then they make such a statement that denies their involvement and the presence of it. But what does this mean of such a state institutions to you? Does it worry you, especially when it comes to the involvement of the press in such an ordeal and in such a way? And you also stated a very worrisome issue that shots were fired. If you recall, how many shots were fired? Was this person identified who may have shot these fires, who may have made these shots? Second, noted question is very, very unfair one to you. How do you perceive President Emerson Mnangagwa's government as it stands? What is your perception of the government and its governance of it thereof? How do you see them and how do you perceive them, especially with the way that they are governing? Maybe I'll use the same opportunity to just shoot the last one. You speak of a very interesting course of legal intervention, specifically within the courts, which many people have got doubts within the legal system. They feel that when it comes to issues of power and maintaining power, they haven't really given Zimbabweans a favorable response, except that which seeks to contain and maintain power within the status quo. What is your response towards faith within the legal structures? And I'll wait there if the mother says I should strictly.
Yes, I think the president just respond now, then we can take another set. I think you have asked the Lord.
Thank you very much for your 3 questions. The first one, what does it mean to me and other citizens? It's very clear what it means. It's a breakdown of constitutional order in the country. And that breakdown of constitutional order in the country is engineered by the ruling party. The breakdown comes in the fact that there are no state institutions that can function anymore on their own. The police is not functioning like a police force for the state. The army will not then be functioning like an army for the state. We have all institutions that have become institutions of a party. But that is not an institution of a party. Once you become an institution of a party, you also become an institution of a person. Because ZANU-PF is nothing but an institution held by whoever is the leader at the time. Remember that during the time of Prof. It was a one center of power, and it was whatever Mugabe wanted to go. Currently, President Mnangagwa is holding forth there, and everything goes according to whatever. So we are worried by the breakdown of constitutional order. And it's a breakdown because the police operators, I don't know what they think, and where is this coming from, whether it's top management or whatever. They're not behaving like police officers. I mean, you park vehicles there, and if you're a police officer, you know very well that this is a private meeting. And they've observed other private meetings of political parties. So any reasonable or ordinary person would know that there will be nothing wrong taking place in there. No violence, no nothing. So that's my concern. We have people who have simply collapsed state institutions. That becomes a difficulty, and these citizens must have to be alert to that, wake up and see how we can recover that space. Perhaps that is the answer I can give to the issue you have raised. Then you also have a second question: what is my perception of the government of President ED and so on? I am afraid that the perception is now obvious for everyone. The things that they are doing now would show that this government is no longer worth its name. Remember that these are people that have been claiming that we are a second republic. We have introduced, democratic reforms. At one point, we thought they were genuine and so forth. But now it's very clear. This is a government that presides over undermining constitutionalism, in the sense of if you interfere with the term limits and you interfere with the elections and you actually go to the root of how a country is governed, which means those who govern must have the consent of the governed. They are saying that, and that has never happened. It never happened under the First Republic, under President Mugabe. Because I know when we were growing up, ZANU-PF was urging a one-party state, but the government somewhat resisted it. But if they were behaving like this, we would have had a one-party state, because now this government is. So we have no respect for the government of President E.D. Mnangagwa now with this behavior. Then you see the amount of brutality that is happening. I said yesterday to the press that the last time I was at the Avenues Clinic was in March 2007, when I shared the bed with Changirai. We were then 2007 after March. And the next time I get back to be on a bed at the Avenues Clinic in 2026, same thing. You are beaten up, same cause. You are fighting for this, and so on. I think I told Miriam who took a video at that place. So that was clear that it was something that touched me. So my perception is that the government really now wants self-interest at the expense of everyone. We have no respect for what they're doing. They will have to change their ways if they want to earn our respect now going forward. Then the last one you asked on what faith do we have in the legal system. I think that's what you said. What faith do we have in the judicial system? For me, I have faith in the legal system. Perhaps people might not know how courts operate. There are certain areas where a court does not have room to maneuver, where a point is very clear and straightforward. The courts of this country, they will rise to the occasion. The general perception that courts will just simply do what ZANU-PF wants, or simply do what the president wants, that is not correct. And I have faith in that. The issues we are taking to the Constitutional Court are straightforward. I don't see any court departing from. Take the first one that says, is it a term limit? The change is that they are claiming that it's not a term limit. We are simply lengthening the term. The Constitutional Court has already said that in a judgment that is circulating. Everyone now knows that there's an Mpungu case, there's Justice Patel's judgment there, etc. They are not going to change that position. So they won't hit this as a term limit provision. They will say that what is being proposed goes against Section 328, subsection 7. So I have faith in that. Then secondly, when we go to this court and say that there is a requirement of a referendum, those are the two big things. our courts here, and the constitutional court, we have every confidence that they will be with us on that. So the public out there must not actually think that we have no courts and that the courts will always, they don't do that. There are so many cases that appear in the courts where the government is losing. This one is one such area. It's a clear-cut position which ought to. So why are the movers of this amendment always making legal arguments? It's because they fear the issue of the courts. If the courts were just simply their rubber stamps, they would not be making as many legal arguments as you have said. They are trying to think that the public can believe in that. Those are my answers to your 3 questions.
Yes, we take the last round of questions. The last round of questions. Yes, you can answer.
I can answer.
Yes, you can answer.
Thank
This
you
is
so
the
much.
last round.
Yeah. Do you think that we are going to be able to actually have an opportunity for the public consultations, especially because they seem to have been more favorable to submissions, whether we don't know who is submitted, how have they submitted, and what has really been submitted? Should Zimbabweans be worried that they may be denied an opportunity for actual public consultation as far as the current process is concerned? That's the first one. The second one, you also, I understand, and I've learned that you have an application that you've also made in the court as far as this case is concerned. How far is it? Has a date already been slotted for it to be heard, and what has been the response to that case as well? Last but not least, many people perceive you as a very senior legal persona, very well known. You've also worked with Pollard, a respected citizen in Zimbabwe. If this happens to a person of your stature, what does it mean to ordinary people out there who will probably want to gather around and speak against any constitutional amendments?
Yes, I think I will start with the last one. If they can beat me out the way they did, they are simply sending a message out there that we don't care as long as you are not our supporter. That's what they say. Not just this, they will do that to everyone, including those people in their own party, as long as those people are not supporting. The only person who would not be beaten up in this country is President E.D. That's the message they are setting as far as things are concerned. They will beat up everyone else. So it's how dangerous they are. Don't think that any people who are in ZANU-PF at the top level are immune to this thing. I've been watching, and unfortunately you are now prompting me to say, I've been watching and following Themba Muliswa's rantings against the Vice President on Twitter. If they can allow the Vice President to be dealt with that way, left, right, and center, we've been reading that. I mean, who is allowing that to happen? And so it's not just Madhuku there who is beaten up. I have no doubt that if anyone else were to stand directly in their way, they will do the same thing. So it's a worry, very much of a worry. I think that's my answer to you. If I can be beaten up, anyone can be beaten up, but that doesn't mean that I am a top person in the country. But I'm just an ordinary citizen who is leading a political party. And what I was doing exactly my job, to chair a meeting of an organ of my party which is discussing how to advance the cause of that party. That is what was happening.
If I'm to interject, sorry, Prof. Madhuku, does it even mean that the Chiwengas of this country are also at risk? Should they also come their way within against the constitutional amendments? Just a quick thought there.
Yes, that's what I have said that. I've said that. It's the only person who is immune is the president. That is as long as he's occupying that position. But if he just simply leaves it, he's not immune. With the kind of culture you are saying, anyone can end up being beaten up. So yes, they know, not just me saying it, but they also know it themselves that they run the risk of the machinery that is put in place is a very dangerous one that this party has been up to. You also remember last time when President Mnangagwa's vice president was demoted, he left the country in ways which are published. He ran away. He was like demoted on day one. The second day we were hearing that I don't know how he crossed the border. He must have gone through our province in Manicaland and so on. Then he preferred us to other places. That's how he was able to leave the country. Ended up in Mozambique, and then we heard that he was now in South Africa. We all know this. Why was he running away? He was running away from a system that they have put in place, which is dangerous. It can consume its own people. And this is what we want to change. We want to change such a system. It's a very dangerous one. if I may put it that way. You have interjected. But you had asked the other questions that you had, the last one was what?
Yes,
you had said that I have a case in the court.
Yeah.
I have no case in the court. I actually am a lawyer representing people that have brought a case in the court. My clients in that case are war veterans, and they have gone to the Constitutional Court with a very simple point. They are challenging the president for presiding over these proposed amendments which would benefit him. And they are saying he's breaching the Constitution. They want the Constitutional Court to declare that he himself has breached the Constitution. That's what they say. He has breached his duties, because as president he's not supposed to preside over all these things. He should serve under the Constitution as it is. He can't propose that. And that's the issue that is there. So currently we are still waiting for their responses. They are given time under the rules, because a very serious challenge, he gets a lot of time. So I think next week they will have responded, and we hope that it will. But there will be other challenges that are coming in the way that will challenge Parliament and so forth. So within the 90-day period, there would be challenges that will deal with the matter. So the courts are going to be very much utilized. The bottom line is that legally, we will be challenging every step. This must be known. Every step, it will end up in the courts. And it is our duty to do so. The courts have an obligation to hear us. That's what their constitutional duty is. The Constitutional Court is a guardian of the Constitution. That's what it is, and it is clear on that. Then the other question you had posed was, what about the consultation? The consultations currently are meaningless. There are no consultations taking place in Parliament. They have put out an advert there. This country has 16 million people. Most of them have no access to an email. They have no access to Parliament. And if you see the two methods, they don't apply to the ordinary people. The first one, you send an email. The second one, you physically. In other words, you have to come from Belengwa to the new Parliament building. Even a person in Harare would find it very difficult to go all the way to the new Parliament building. But those are the two methods that are being. They have not even put even radio stations where people can phone in and we are all hearing what people want. That is not being done. So it's a very meaningless exercise that they are engaging in. What you can see is that the people in Parliament, like the Speaker of Parliament, who is also the ZANU-PF Secretary General, he doesn't know what his job is. One day he is Secretary General of the party, the next day he is Speaker of Parliament. I'm not sure what other roles he plays. Sometimes you see him all over the place. Now, he respects more his duties as Secretary General of ZANU-PF. I have been watching Jacob Mundeni. The moment he became Secretary General of ZANU-PF, he lost all focus on his job as Speaker of Parliament. He went to collect from Ziambi is the minister. Now, where did the Speaker get that bill? Where from? It was never presented to Parliament. No MP knew about it. We had Ziambi telling us that it will be gazetted. Where did the Speaker get it? I mean, that's important. Where did he get it from? Nothing. He gets it from some bedroom, some place where they meet and so on, gets it the next day. It is so he's not playing his role as Speaker of Parliament. He's just a ZANU-PF player, Secretary General. So to expect the ZANU-PF Secretary General to preside over a parliamentary process, I think is to expect too much. It's extreme, those levels. So these are worrying. In fact, I'm saying that is what is making the consultations meaningless. Jacob Mzenda is Speaker of Parliament. He is actually, I am not sure how I can put it, I'm failing to get the proper word. But he is not fit and proper to lead the public consultation process. This is a ZANU-PF president. What does a ZANU-PF president do? The best thing that the president of ZANU-PF does is to listen to the president. So who is leading the consultation? It's President Nagago. So what is that? Because Mundela will not do anything that is not supported. So our country has to require a lot of reform. The public consultations are not being meaningful. No citizen would have, very few citizens would have access to email. In fact, fewer citizens would also have access to the Parliament building. But with what they did to us on Sunday, would you have the confidence to present a document at Parliament which is actually stamped, where you are saying, I don't want this, I don't want this, I don't want that? You fear you will be followed up. I think that is what I would say. Perhaps it's time to end the press conference that we don't divert our attention. The idea was to tell you that we are here to stay. Everyone knows that we will not, we can't give up. So we've been here too long to be there. So they know it's just abusing us what they did. Because I know that no one will beat up Madhuku and expect that after beating Madhuku he will keep quiet. They know that. So it's just abusing me, just abusing my members, because they're not going to stop. That's where we have our major problem with them. They say, what do you want to gain from beating him up? You know he won't change. So you simply want to inflict pain. That is the classical definition of torture under international law. Just inflict pain for the sake of inflicting pain, because you know you won't achieve what you want to. And so on. Those are the things. Thank you very much.
Thank you, President. Thank you, the media, for coming. This brings us to the end of the press conference.